How did one of the biggest and most successful YouTubers of all time, Mr. Beast, trick his brain to become hugely successful? Check this video out and I'll explain. So how did Mr. Beast actually trick his brain and become super successful? Well, first off, who is Mr. Beast? Well, he's only the most successful YouTuber in the world, and his story is absolutely fascinating. I'm going to explain that to you right now. And I promise you, if you apply the principles that he applied, your life will transform beyond anything that you could possibly imagine. So who exactly is Mr. Beast? He is Jimmy Donaldson. And what he has done has massively applied the science of future self. If someone asked me, Pete, what exactly do you do? Well, these days I tend to tell people I am a future self scientist. I'm absolutely fascinated with the relationship that we have with our future, because everything that we do is for our future, but it's how we think about it. And I'm going to explain more to you in a few moments. So he's a very, very, very successful YouTuber, but he wasn't always. He started YouTubing a number of years ago, but in October 2015, he did something pretty remarkable. He decided to make 4 videos. Now, why did he make these 4 videos? Well, I think he was pretty dissatisfied with where he was and the success that he had had to that date. He'd invested a lot of time and energy into YouTube videos. He almost kind of gave up. He did actually give up for a little while, but then he decided to give it another go, change his YouTube name. He had 8,000 subscribers in October 2015. And yes, he had 4 videos. And the 4 videos, what he did is he scheduled those videos to go out. 1 in 6 months, 1 in a year, 1 in 5 years, and 1 in 10 years. And the 10-year one hasn't come out yet. We're 6 years in. And that's really what I want to share with you, what he's achieved in 6 years, from going from 8,000 subscribers to, well, how many subscribers do you think he has today? Well, you can go and see these little videos that he made, and in the videos he's talking to his future self. He's talking about the person that he wants to be. Now, there is a very famous guy called Hal Hershfield who's very well known in the science of future self, and there was something that he said that when I heard this, it completely blew me away. This is what he said. He said, everything that we do is for the future, but it's our relationship to it. So if I was going to say to you, what will you be doing this evening? Chances are in your mind, you have an idea of who that person is this evening. If I said, who are you going to be next week? Chances are, once again, you have an idea of who that person is. But what about next month? Probably, again, you probably have an idea, but beyond that, for most people, it's really vague. And if you don't know the person that you could become, then you'll keep being the person that you are. In order for things to change, we have to change. And this is what he started to do. He started to identify with his future self. He knew where he was, and most people's view of their future doesn't go very far. They don't know the person that they're becoming. And we've spoken about this on some of our YouTube channels. We talk about Gandhi, who said, be the change that you want to see in the world. He recognized the person that he needed to be in order for him to fulfill his mission, which was partly to stop the British Empire and stop a war. And he did it. He did what no person has done before. And that's what Jimmy Donaldson has done. What he's done is absolutely epic, because he committed to be his future self. He put it out there. And we've seen this in the labs, where you put people into what is known as fMRI machines, and you ask people a series of questions, and we see which part of the brain light up. So we say, think of yourself, and we see a part of the brain light up. Then we say, think of a stranger. We see another part of the brain light up. But then we ask people to think of themselves a year, 5 years, 10 years down the line. And what part of the brain lights up? The stranger. And this is true probably for so many people walking around the earth. They are literally just relating to where they are. I heard a quote the other day that said, most people are 9 meals away from crime or suicide. And the reason is that they're living in an urgent world, not getting the results they want, not being prepared to put the work in. And that is what Jimmy Donaldson has done. He recognized that he needed to be this person. He started communicating with his future self. His future self was talking to him. Even from my own example, in 2020, when my mum was diagnosed with cancer, she wasn't given very long to live, I started eating more and more sugar. I was kind of not eating it in front of people. I was almost like doing it secretly. I didn't want the world to know. But I have a relationship to my future self. I talk to my future self. And one day my future self said to me, listen, both of your grandparents had diabetes. Do you want diabetes? And then I kind of really woke up to the fact that I have a choice. And at that moment, I made the choice to do something differently. And I gave it 100%. And that's what we can do. We can commit to who we actually want to become. And now, what Jimmy Donaldson has done is amazing. You want to know how many followers he has? Well, when the video came out for 5 years, he had 40 million followers after 5 years. But what about now? Well, in the making of this video, today he has 87.5 million followers. That's incredible, right? And if you asked him how did he do it, he would say that this was a key part of the process. I'd say you don't get what you want. You get who you choose to become. And now what he's doing, he's earning hundreds of millions of dollars, making videos that are really not just a bit crazy, but they're fun. And he's someone who is literally just giving back all of the time. He had an idea to plant 20 million trees, and he's got millions of people to contribute. They've raised so much money because he's decided to give back. And I think ultimately that's a beautiful thing. When someone creates something amazing, they want to give something back with what they're doing. I remember hearing about a crazy video that he made where he counted to 100,000 and it took him 44 hours to do. I thought I'd written it on the board behind me here, but I hadn't. Look, we can all do amazing things. We can all do what Jimmy Donaldson has done. So let me ask you the question. Knowing what he's done, would you be prepared to do something similar? Now, you might say yes, but chances are you won't for 2 reasons. Probably don't feel like it, and you don't identify with the person that you could actually be. So, as we start to wrap this video up, you could do this. You could become your own Jimmy Donaldson. It might not result in you having 87.5 million followers, but you can make an impact. And the biggest challenge that you will have is to give up who you think you are and decide to become your own hero. We know that in 2013, Matthew McConaughey won the Oscar for the Best Actor. And if you haven't watched the speech, he talks about who his hero was. He said his hero was the person that he was choosing to become. He recognized that himself in the future, and that is who his hero was. And he was always chasing that person. There's another gentleman here in the UK, a guy called Stephen Bartlett, and I introduced him at an event. He's the youngest ever dragon on Dragon's Den, which is the American equivalent of Shark Tank. And he also said when he was 15 years old, he knew who he was pursuing. Look, the greatest thing we will ever achieve in our life, I believe, is the person that we choose to become. I think Jimmy Donaldson is a fantastic example, AKA the Beast. Why not go and follow him? Go and follow him now and add even more to the 87.5 million followers. Thank you so much for watching. We can all apply the science of future self and close the gaps between where we are and where we want to be. Thank you, and we'll see you again next time.